Okay, good morning or good afternoon, class. I'm not always going to record these with a camera in my face because a lot of times you don't need to see me. We'll just be doing notes, but I wanted to say to you, it was very nice to meet so many of you. We had excellent attendance in many of the classes. There's one class that was pretty rough, but hopefully we get everybody in. I think it's the plan on Wednesday to reach out to your peers that haven't gotten in, but for most of you, that's not your problem. I wanted you to know that I read your responses to the form that I gave you yesterday. Some of you sent me some very important things that the whole world didn't need to know, and I'm glad I know. Some things that were just fun, like, oh, did you know my cousin? Do you remember her? She said she had you, and I did, and that was kind of neat. Anybody who filled out that form then got a ticket filled out. Tickets are very important in my class. A ticket filled out with your name on it, and then that ticket went in your class period's bucket. So each class period has their own bucket. And then on Fridays, or Monday, Friday, about half the class we do some things that are a little bit out of the ordinary. And one of the things we do is draw a ticket, and that person gets a document of the week pass. So the very assignment I'm going to explain to you today, on Fridays, we give out tickets for those. And so the next week, or better yet, save it for some future week when you've got a million things going on. You can just say, oh, I want to use that pass you gave me. Then you get a 10 out of 10. So it's just to encourage you to participate. So without any further ado, let's get to what we've got to do today. It's a very typical first day or two sort of thing, and I want to go over the class rules. So let's do share screen. May or may not work right. And let's try this. Okay. So I'm going to leave a copy for this in the same area that you clicked on with this video. If you're good with what we've talked about or what I go over here, then you don't need to, read through it again, but you're certainly welcome to. The first thing I would tell you is that this is not actually the syllabus. This is an addendum to the syllabus, technically. If you want to go to the syllabus, there's a link here, which for you, you'd have to go on to this document and then click on that, and it'll just show you every unit we're doing, how many points, etc. I don't think most of you will need that, but it is available if you would like it. But I would like to talk to you about classroom rules. And I frame them a little bit differently. I like to think of them as rights. Bill of Rights, it's a teacher thing, especially a history teacher thing. And so all of these are fair game, whether we're online or in person. I think are particularly relevant when we're in person, even more so. Let me see if I can make this bigger for you. So instead of always saying what you can and cannot do, I don't really like framing things like that. I want to talk about rights that you have. So a student's Bill of Rights, you have certain rights. Now, if we're talking about legal rights, your parents possess all of your rights for you, but you still really have rights. Let's talk about your rights as a student. You have the right to be treated with respect. That's the very first one. Listen, I in particular love to play around with my students, some sarcasm, things like that. And as long as it's playful in both directions, I don't mind taking a little heat myself. But if I go too far, it's never my intent to not treat you with respect. So you have the right to say, I don't really like to play like that. Just keep things totally professional, no joking around. And I respect that. Not everybody operates like I do. But you have the right to be treated with respect, not only by me, but also by your peers. So that's one of the ways you can get in trouble is if somebody is being disrespectful to somebody else. Because remember, they have these same rights and they have the right to be treated with respect. You have the right to learn. That's a big deal. I mean, that is sort of the name of the game for history class is to learn. And if you're doing something to interfere with somebody else's right to learn, I'm going to be handling that because I want everybody to have that ability to learn. And I truly believe that everybody has the ability to learn what they need to not only pass the air test, but to just know your U.S. history. The next one is, I think, misunderstood sometimes, but you have the right to politely express your opinions. I'm not in the business of making you think like I think. That's not my job or any other teacher's job. Now, I will definitely work on how you express those things that you believe. So you and I can disagree on any political issue in the world. And I would just say, well, your grammar has to be this way when writing about it, or it's more effective when you back up your opinion with facts. And by the way, both sides of virtually every issue have facts to back them up. But if you and I happen to disagree, and I'm not one of those teachers that pretends I don't have opinions. I just don't try to push them onto you. And I respect that lots of smart people hold views on both sides. We're going to talk about politics in here. Mr. Birch is an example. He and I disagree completely on virtually every political issue I could think of. But I respect him, and I think he respects me, and that's okay. That's life. We probably could do a better job of the world of showing that right now, that you can have differing views on things, and that's okay. So if you're politely expressing your opinion, even if it's not political, even if it's something like, oh, I don't like your class, that's fair. I don't think it's going to change much, but you know what? If you're saying it respectfully, I'm not really going to have a problem unless you're bringing it up every 3 seconds with that expression. That's your right to feel that way. I don't know what else to say about that. I don't like that, but it doesn't offend me. Now, if you say I don't bleeping like your class and you're cussing and stuff like that, that's where we have issues. Feel safe. Well, listen, you have the right to feel safe in school. I mean, that seems pretty self-explanatory. So I wish I could name, if this was a normal day and I had each individual class, I would name some people. And I'd say, well, if this kid had the desk above their head and they were like threatening to throw it at people, I would tell you that the people immediately around them probably don't feel terribly safe. So that's where I have to do something. So that leads us to the Teacher's Bill of Rights. I have the right to teach without interruptions. Now, that doesn't mean you don't speak. This is awkward to be doing a video where you guys don't get to respond. I'm looking out over an empty classroom right now. I like that interaction where, hey, what do you guys think of this? Oh, you won't believe it, but this happened. No way. And then there's this, that's when learning is best. I lecture a lot, but my lectures are based on the idea of conversations, of debate. What do you think of this? No way. This other person disagrees with you. So that means I want you to speak up. It just means you raise your hand and get recognized, because if 4 people speak up at the same time, nobody really gets heard at all. To be treated with respect. A teacher has the right to be treated with respect. I'm not under the assumption that you just respect me automatically. I just ask that you treat me with respect. I haven't earned your respect yet, but I think you should treat me with respect, and I'll do the same to you. As a matter of fact, if I can't remember your name, I'll go ma'am or sir, because that's just how I was raised to be respectful. Ensure a safe classroom. Let's go back to the kid that holds a desk up over their head. We're back in live school. I have a responsibility to make sure that the class is safe, and if somebody's holding up a desk threatening to chuck it at some kid, you know, that sounds like something I should take care of. And then I have the right to discipline you within limits. I like to handle small things in my classroom with small consequences. So if you do something that is inappropriate, let's say there's, and there are differences. So let's say you use profanity, this is in physical classroom, but this works online too. You drop something and you say something that everybody hears, but it's not directed at anybody. I'm probably going to handle that in class. I'm going to say, okay, listen, I get it, but you have detention with me. And I have detentions that are served before or after school, and they're 15 minutes long. If you skip those, I tell Mr. Peugeot, and then I think he gives a 2-hour detention. So I'm trying to save you, because I'm saying, listen, it's not appropriate for you to do that, but there is a difference between you dropping something and accidentally slipping a word, as opposed to you losing your temper and screaming a profane thing at somebody. That's different. That's going to be a removal. But because the other infraction is smaller, I'm not saying it's okay. It just has a smaller response. If you don't want that response, be like, I'm not going to serve any detention with you. That's fine. You can handle it with Mr. Peugeot, but I think his smallest infractions start at 2-hour detention. So I try to keep things within the room that are small affairs. Some picky points. A lot of these aren't going to come up because you're not physically in school yet, but I presume that we will be hopefully soon enough. And that's that I don't really let people leave the room too much. I actually love history and I love teaching, and I wish I had you for like 4 hours a day. And so the fact that I only have you for 45 minutes or 50 minutes, I'm not gonna like want you to leave and go to the bathroom or go to your locker and all that good stuff. I'm just not that guy. Don't mean to mean, I mean it because I really want you to get that material. I expect you to come to class prepared. That's another picky point. And for me, not to see your phone. I know some teachers are loose on that, and that's their prerogative. I just follow the rules they give me, and they say no phones, and I do the same. So I will have my phone when we're back in live school put in the desk. I'll have the ringer off. It's just common courtesy. I mean, let's face it, I can't compete with your phone. And if I were to let myself, so, you know, maybe I'd be staring at my phone too if I had it out. So we're not going to. And then follow the dress code. But again, all these things, they're true in online school, but to a lesser degree. I don't want to see you on your phone when we're live streaming, but I mean, I'm not going to stop you or write you up if you do. It's just, you might not count for attendance that day if you're totally disengaged. Let's see. Miscellaneous items that are helpful to know. This is just in case you want to know. Almost every assignment here is going to be worth 10 points. Every test, except for the first one, oddly enough, will be 50 points. And in general, I'm not like saying I try to do this. I think it just kind of happens this way. Usually it seems like there's about 5 assignments before every test. So you end up with about 50 points in assignments and about 50 points in tests. That's not exact. Sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 6 or 7. But the idea there is, roughly speaking, tests are worth about half your grade and your classwork is about half your grade. Honors, it's a little bit different. You'll have all those same assignments, plus you'll have 25-point essays. That'll eventually become 50-point essays. But that's only for honors. Scope, meaning what are we covering? The first 2 units are review units. Unit 1 is really easy. Just covers some basic concepts, but I want to make sure I share them with you before I expect you to know them. Unit 2 is tougher. That's some primary documents, U.S. documents, Constitution in particular. That one's a lot tougher. And then from there, we pick up pretty much chronologically from 1877 all the way through present day. Class identifiers. Each class has a color that I use to mark their buckets. First period has that red dot because you're the red class. Third period looks like they're blue. Fourth period, green. Sixth period is AP. They're a little bit different, so they're 2 red stickers. Seventh is yellow. I'll have test charts where I'll show averages on tests. I'll never show your individual score. That's crazy. But I will show, oh, here, third period averaged a B. And you'll chart it, and you'll see along those lines. I also have a goal board, and your goal will be written in your colors class. It's just so you can kind of clue in on how your particular set of peers are doing. And then documents of the week. This video has already run a little longer than I thought it would, so I'm going to do that in a separate video. But your document of the week is just absolutely the easiest way to earn a good grade or to throw away your grade, because they're going to be due every single week, and they're 10 points each. And they're just always due at the start of your class Friday. So I'm going to do a separate video on that. But your document of the week is critical, 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 and we have one due this week. Other than that, the expectation we already talked about in our live session. We'd like you to take notes when it comes time to take notes, and we'll take notes a lot of days. And you have to remember that essentially, even if I don't want you to, you're going to be able to use your notes on your tests. Now you're going to be timed. So you're going to run out of time if you have to look up every single question. But you're basically, one of the advantages of being online is you're going to be able to look up some of the stuff. And it is what it is. If you don't take notes, that's going to be a lot tougher. Because a lot of the things that I'm going to be teaching you aren't easily looked up on the internet. And so you'll end up wasting even more time if you didn't take the notes when we had them. So this is just sort of our class rules, our good to know things. There's another video that you'll click on today, and that will cover the very, very important document of the week. And you have one due by the start of your class Friday. So make sure you click on that video and check that out as well. Okay? So for now, it shouldn't be too long. Have a good day. Don't forget to watch that document of the week video. See ya.